Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. After she finished her full explanation, detailing how I should understand her love and everything related to it, I paused and responded, "Let me clarify if I understood you correctly. You need to figure yourself out better. And to do that, you plan to date other men. Depending on how things go, you might even end up in bed with them. Is that right?" Her eyes lit up as if she felt relief from my calm response. "Yes, exactly, darling. Believe me, this will bring fresh energy into our relationship." I smiled as I got up from my chair. Brilliant idea. "Seriously?" she asked, slightly surprised. "I think you've really come up with something. This will definitely spice up our intimacy. Why didn't I think of it earlier?" The look of surprise on Emma's face is something I'll remember for a long time. "So you're really okay with this?" she asked again, still trying to process my reaction. "More than okay, I'm thrilled. Why wouldn't I be? It sounds amazing. By the way, where did you get this brilliant idea?" She gave me a cautious glance, trying to read my expression. After a brief pause, she waved her hand nonchalantly and said, "I just stumbled upon it on the internet. Honestly, I was afraid you'd get upset. Not every husband would accept this way of improving a marriage." "I don't see why they wouldn't like it," I said with a sly smile. "It makes perfect sense. Did any of your friends or colleagues try it?" She hesitated a bit, but seeing my mocking grin, finally said, "David from work sent me an article. He's married too." "Ah, I see," I nodded. "Is that what they do? Is that why they seem so happy?" I teased her a bit, remembering how I'd only seen her boss and his family a couple of times at work events, and they didn't particularly stand out among other young families. "Yes, that's exactly right," Emma confirmed, gaining confidence in her explanation. "Perfect," I said, pulling out my phone and dialing a number. "Hey, Noah here. Imagine this. Emma is totally fine with me going to the party with you." There was a short pause. Then an excited voice came through on the other end. "Are you serious? That's awesome. So 7 o'clock?" "Absolutely. And don't forget to wear that skirt you had on last time." I hung up just as Emma began to snap out of her shock. "Who was that?" she asked, her voice suspicious. "Who else? Grace from next door, the one with the oversized implants." I paused for a moment. "What do you think, Emma? Does she suit me?" Emma's chest wasn't particularly large, but just enough to fit comfortably in my hand. I knew it was a low blow, but she had started this conversation with her absurd talk about other men. The message was clear. She had essentially hinted that the man she had her eye on was a better option than me, the man she had spent 13 long years with. In such a situation, everything's fair game, so I didn't hold back. Before she could pretend she hadn't heard, I continued, not letting her interrupt. Her friends were hosting a party, and since it was mostly couples, she didn't want to go alone. "So you're going to show up with some busty bimbo?" she spat, her tone sharp enough to make anyone nearby flinch. "What kind of game is this?" "Just following your advice, doing what's best for our marriage," I replied calmly. "What?" she stammered, nearly choking on her words. "What are you even talking about?" "You know, your brilliant idea. We go out with other people and suddenly our marriage comes alive, becomes more exciting." "You're insane? I never said you could run off and hang out with some neighbor," she hissed. "How am I supposed to tolerate that?" "What's the problem?" I shrugged. "You'll be with your genius David, enjoying his company. We'll just go have dinner, maybe catch a movie, just getting to know each other a little better while you're having fun too." "Getting to know each other better," I mockingly repeated the air quotes. "Let's be honest. You work with him every day. You probably know him better than his own wife." "Me?" she scoffed. "I barely know his wife, Grace. We just exchange smiles in the elevator, that's it." "Well, then you're already ahead of me, aren't you? I need to catch up." I felt a grin spread across my face, and I tried to keep it from getting too wide. Everything was going even better than I could have imagined. Luckily, the tracker I had hidden in her phone had already told me everything I needed to know. Now I couldn't wait to see how Grace would fit into all of this. I had set up an entire ordeal for her, and when she couldn't tolerate my dates with other beauties any longer, I filed for divorce and left her without a home. She needed variety. Well, now her life would be filled not only with variety, but with complications as well. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel. Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Adaptability. That's what our school football coach drilled into us at every practice. I played defense, specifically as a defender, and the coach emphasized developing two key skills: anticipating the opponent's moves and constantly tracking their position on the field. The main secret to a strong defense is knowing what will happen before it does. While I wasn't the star of the team, I performed well enough to earn a full scholarship to a Division III college, where I decided to study business. Margaret entered my life during my junior year. She was a cheerful redhead with a little extra weight, and her bright personality instantly drew attention. We were paired for a project that semester, and, as often happens, things between us developed naturally. Soon, we became more than just study partners, and by the summer after graduation, we were married. That project also opened doors for internships at a large local company. Margaret went into sales, and I ended up in accounting. This small fact spoke volumes. Her strength was in connecting with people, while mine was in working with numbers. Together, we embraced our roles as parents to 3 daughters, eventually letting go of the dream of having a son after our 3rd child was born. Just over a year ago, our youngest daughter left for college, and the house emptied after 29 years of constant commotion. The silence was particularly noticeable during meals, both breakfast and dinner. After a week of this strange quiet, I decided we needed a change. I planned a trip for Margaret and me to the mountains, hoping it would be the perfect break from our routine. Since we both loved country music, I thought we could attend a concert, perhaps of a rising star or a seasoned musician on tour. Hiking through mountain trails covered in autumn leaves would give us a chance to try out our hiking boots, and a cozy cabin with a huge bed might rekindle the spark between us. The trip turned out to be exactly what we needed. We laughed, smiled, danced, and held each other close, reminiscing about the moments we had shared and the obstacles we had overcome. We remembered how often we had been too busy with deadlines to enjoy life's simple joys. The cabin even had a hot tub on the terrace, which we used more than once. After returning home, our shared meals became warmer, filled with newfound closeness. Our relationship blossomed, and I began planning weekend getaways regularly to keep that spark alive. Life without kids was exactly how we had imagined it, until the company's annual Christmas party came around. As always, Margaret was the life of the party, knowing almost everyone in the room, whereas I, confined to accounting, only knew a handful of people and didn't mind it. The usual conversations about kids and their achievements didn't interest me, but if the topic shifted to NBA referees' corruption or the exploitation of athletes in major college leagues, I'd gladly chime in with a sarcastic remark. At such corporate events, Margaret and I usually went our separate ways, only to reunite later for a drink or light conversation. But this year, something felt off. My usual group had shrunk due to layoffs, remote work transitions, and other changes, leaving me wandering the room in search of Margaret. She was nowhere to be found. Eventually, I bumped into Isla, one of her colleagues, and asked if she had seen who Margaret was with at the moment. "Have you seen Margaret recently?" I asked, noticing how her expression changed. Her gaze briefly dropped before she quickly looked away. "No, I haven't seen her," she quietly replied. "She was here with Joe and Richard not too long ago. Joe Masters, her boss, and Richard, a colleague." There was something strange in Isla's behavior that made me feel uneasy. But before I could think more about it, all 3 of them entered the room, laughing and chatting easily, still in their work suits, drinks in hand. I pushed aside my anxious thoughts, convincing myself I was overthinking things. Our eyes met across the room, and her face lit up with a smile. She walked over to me. "Hi, Oliver," she greeted warmly. "Decided to rejoin the living?" she joked, leaving a brief kiss on my cheek. Her carefree demeanor sharply contrasted with the suspicions swirling in my head. "Actually, yes," I smiled back. Wanted to see how the others were spending the evening. She entwined her fingers with mine and led me toward the circle of colleagues, all casually talking and joking. Everything seemed normal, but after that night, I started noticing changes between us. Though at first, I couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong. Familiar routines like shared dinners began to fade into the background. One morning she skipped breakfast, citing an early meeting at work. Later that same week, she canceled dinner. Another work obligation, she said. Our connection, once so natural, began to feel strained, though I didn't realize it at the time. Only in hindsight did I understand that it was a sign of deeper shifts. By spring, Margaret was spending more time away, either physically or emotionally, the distance between us growing. Looking back, I see how I missed the warning signs, the small cracks in our foundation. In March, she came home with a sizable bonus, a gesture that I thought was an attempt to make up for the growing distance. The culmination came when we were discussing weekend plans. During one of our increasingly silent dinners, Margaret broke the silence. "Oliver, we need to talk," she began, her tone serious. "What's on your mind?" I asked, already bracing myself for something significant. "The company is holding a golf tournament for our top contractors next week, right after the weekend," she started. "I'll be gone from Tuesday to Sunday." "Sounds great," I responded cautiously. "Where are we staying?" "You're not going," she said firmly. "This event is strictly for suppliers, and since you work in accounting, you have no place there." "I could pay my own way," I offered, trying to keep the conversation light. "You won't be with the reps the entire time, right?" "Oliver," she sighed, her tone a mix of frustration and exhaustion. "You'd be the only spouse there, and it would make things awkward. The company has planned events besides golf, and honestly, having you there would make me uncomfortable. It would look like I brought my jealous husband to keep an eye on me." Her words hit me hard. "A hovering husband," she added. "I'm not saying that's who you are, but that's how it would look. Is that what you want?" The tension in the room became palpable. "Margaret, what about the trip we planned with the girls?" I asked, realizing just how far apart we had already grown. "You're absolutely right. Honestly, it slipped my mind." "I'm sorry," she admitted, shaking her head slightly. "But it's just a corporate event." Even if I had remembered, I would still have had to go. "Couldn't you have rescheduled the meeting? The girls have already planned their summer vacation. Why not adjust everything for Joe? This isn't the first time you've been with him." She leaned back in her chair, her eyes darting around as if she suddenly found herself on unfamiliar ground. "What are you even talking about?" "I'm talking about the dinners you've been having with Joe several times a week since the Christmas party. At first, you were with other people, but then it was just the two of you, and you met at the Hilton Motel the day before Valentine's Day. Since then, you've been meeting regularly at various motels every week. Now, you're planning to leave me and his wife Sheila out of the picture after the weekend, hiding it all under some golf tournament." Margaret's face showed a mix of shock, confusion, guilt, and fear. "Where do you get such ridiculous ideas? Forgotten? Or maybe you didn't know that Joe is a notorious womanizer. He's had several affairs with women from your department. You're just his latest target. He dumped Sophia Smith to be with you." "Big mistake," I said coldly. "Sophia never liked you. She's jealous of your success, and you don't hide it. Everyone knows you're the most attractive one in sales, but Joe dumped her right before Valentine's Day to be with you. She had to spend the holiday heartbroken and humiliated. In her rage over Joe's cruel actions, she found me during the corporate Valentine's dinner and told me everything. You were too wrapped up in your new affair to notice. She told me all the details, Joe's favorite places to meet you, the times when he could sneak away without raising suspicion from his wife. Oh, and she didn't forget to mention your little vacation plan. Sophia also works in the sales department and said that after the weekend, no meetings with company reps are scheduled." I paused, watching her reaction. "You knew Joe was married, didn't you? To Linda, the former beauty queen? They have 2 kids still in school." Margaret's face turned pale. I realized the conversation had taken a turn she hadn't expected. She wasn't lucky this time. She slowly shook her head. So what's the truth? Did you not know about Sophia? Or are you seriously claiming you didn't know Joe has a wife and kids? Her voice was barely audible when she finally answered. Neither. You really believed he was just some lonely guy smitten by you, didn't you? For reasons I still couldn't understand, this handsome man, who seemed unburdened by any obligations, was more than ready to jump into bed with you, willing to share the most personal moments. I thought you had more sense, Margaret. I already knew you had neither decency nor honor, but to realize you didn't even have common sense? It was truly surprising. I stood up from the chair. Is that clear? Clear? What are you even talking about? She snapped back. Throughout our entire marriage, I always submitted to your will. Neither of us wanted this huge house, but you insisted, and we bought it. The decor, the car you drive, your wardrobe, our vacations, every decision was made for you. Think about it. Every time we disagreed, I backed down just to keep the peace. Fine. Do you want a divorce? I'll have the papers ready by tomorrow. Margaret, no longer able to contain herself, stood up abruptly, shoving the chair back with force, her voice rising in irritation. No way! I won't let you do this! She shouted, launching into an emotional tirade about her affair with Joe. It's just physical, she blurted out. It means nothing. I still love only you. A flood of excuses for her infidelity poured out. I interrupted her. Enough. You can stop. It's over. You no longer have a say in this, the moment you decided to give yourself to that other man. He's not my boyfriend, she screamed. Maybe not, I replied. But the moment you let him into your bed, everything between us ended. I've already taken care of the next steps, and the papers are ready. Isabella, our eldest daughter, saw me leaving the lawyer's office and demanded an explanation. She already knew about you and Joe. I didn't even bother asking how she found out, but she was sure you wouldn't be so reckless. She believed you'd come to your senses and end things with him. I trusted her because I still loved you, so I asked the lawyer to hold off on filing the papers. I waited for you to make a decision, one way or the other. The divorce papers are ready whenever you finally wake up and return to reality. But instead of trying to fix things, you seem to have decided to destroy 2 marriages, ruin the lives of Joe's 2 children while they're still in school, and hurt our 3 daughters, all for another man. In short, you've already pulled the trigger. Isabella knows? Margaret asked in a trembling voice, her tone a mixture of defeat and shock. Everyone knows. Isabella told the sisters. They're all waiting for me to tell them what you plan to do next. So, when are you and Joe leaving? I'm not sure if I'm going anywhere, she mumbled. Oh no, you're leaving. Start packing. Right now, Joe's wife is having the same conversation with him. She's kicking him out today, and he has no other choice. You've already got that apartment by the coast, and you don't need to return it. Spend a few more days there thinking about what you want to do with your life. Margaret started to sob. Do our 29 years together mean nothing to you? It seems they meant much more to me than they ever did to you. You threw them away at the Christmas party. Instead of realizing the mistake you were making, you turned into Joe's plaything until, inevitably, he moves on to someone else. At least I had the decency to end our marriage before finding someone who deserves me. There are still women out there who respect themselves, and I know I'm worthy of one of them. And what about me? She asked quietly. You're not worthy of me, and I regret spending 29 years of my life on you. The only thing I don't regret is my children. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.